This is video number 4 in my Simple Project Management series, and this video is going to deal with executing your project, or actually getting the work done. Before, what we've done was initiation, which is defining the work, planning, defining how to do the work. Now we're into executing, which is actually doing the work. Now, execution for your project, and I've said this in the last video, is going to depend on what your project is. Your project could have something as simple as you doing the work, or you might need to step out and grab a couple of people who are in your organization who might be able to help you out because they have some sort of specialized knowledge. Now, what you're going to have to do with that is something that you might have looked into your resource planning. And if you haven't gone back in and looked and downloaded, I would really suggest that you go download that, because your resource planning, I'm going to talk a little bit, mention about how you want to use other people for their specializations whenever they're not necessarily under your authority, but it's more of an idea of influencing. A lot of you have probably done some sort of training or professional development where influencing is mentioned. That is going to be one of your skills in execution as a project manager, is to get the work done. You don't necessarily, as a project manager, have to do all the work, or will you always do the work? But you have to be able to use either your influence or your authority to get the work done for the project. But anyway, we'll go back into what I was talking about here. Execution. Execution of the project is going to rely on that project plan that you've put together, that we talked about in the last video. That project plan is going to tell you all the things that you need to have done. It's going to give you a schedule of doing them. It's going to give you the resources that you need in order to get them done, as well as what kind of level of quality you're looking for. And the project plan works for both you as the project manager, because you are constantly going to be checking the project plan. Well, depending on your project, like I said, tailoring. You should be able to check your project plan and check the work that's being done to make sure that it all lines up with your plan, with your charter, with the scope, that everything is in alignment. Otherwise, you risk having the problems of scoped creep or a lot of rework. Basically, anything that gets into your project that wasn't part of your project plan and winds up either sucking up resources, sucking up time, sucking up money, that is going to be a scope creep problem. Normally, we talk about scope creep in terms of adding little features, or something else gets put into the project that wasn't otherwise talked about earlier on. But anything that is going to affect that project, affect your timeline, affect your deliverables, and wasn't planned for, you really need to make sure that these kinds of things you're addressing along the way, because you want to be able to make notes. That's another thing about project execution and project planning, is you should be making some notes along the way so that you can look back at your project, see what kind of problems you've come up with or run into, what kind of issues have happened, what lessons you've learned, what things you've taken, what steps you've taken or your project team has taken, so that you've got a project that you can refer back to whenever you have to do it again. But we've got your execution. I feel like I keep kind of circling around, but it all kind of ties together because your execution is that point where you are building out your deliverable. You are using your plan, executing your plan with your resources or by yourself to create that deliverable, and you are looking to your plan, to your charter, to make sure that it's the right deliverable because you are talking to your stakeholders along the way. You're meeting your milestones. You are delivering your communications. You are checking in. They are checking in. You're getting feedback. And everyone sees how the project is progressing. That execution is kind of your overarching part in time that mixes with the monitoring and controlling. You're going to come back, you might have to revisit your plan if things are not going well and see, did I plan for this? Did I not plan for this? Was it unexpected? Was it something that should have been expected? And you are dealing with your execution through all of this. What you want to do is you want to have your, ideally at the end, your deliverables that you know that you're going for. And this is part of the next step, which is going to be the monitoring and the controlling. But you want to be able to take those deliverables and get them into a situation where they are verified, where you know that they're right, and then where they're accepted, where you know that somebody who is in authority, who you've defined earlier on as being in authority, has signed off or is signing off on those things. So what you need to do is, I would suggest, make yourself a folder. And you can make this folder either in your email or on your desktop, or probably if your company uses some sort of shared service like a SharePoint setup, make a folder out there, and along with your stakeholders, with your project team, with everybody that you're working on and working with, you want to make sure that you kind of have one repository and one place that along the way you're putting your deliverables, you're putting your information, you're putting your communications. You've got everything organized, because the execution phase is one where you've got to keep, as a project manager, you've got to keep people informed, you've got to keep people in line, and you've got to keep your project on track. So, once again, set up some sort of folder, some sort of system where you can track your project and keep everything together, because your, essentially, your sanity and your stress level as a project manager is going to depend on how well organized you have been, are, and will be. So, as we move into this next video of monitoring and controlling, go ahead, download what I've placed underneath this video, and if you have any questions, talk to me, email me, LinkedIn, reach out. Thanks.